Well, we're still in Women's Month, and this morning we celebrate women making a difference in the sciences and medicine sector. One of them is Dr. Bathabile Ramalapa from the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Now, she joins us to talk about novel drug delivery systems for diabetes, breast cancer, and antimicrobial resistance. Doc, thank you so much for your time, and good morning to you. Let's talk about this drug delivery system, which is absolutely, fascinating in a sense that it's inclusive. It's inclusive of also all parts of the country, all parts of Africa, where we know due to the digital divide that we still experience, there's some people in the country that still do not have access to medication. How does this solve the problem?
Good morning. How are you? And thank you for inviting me this morning. It really is a pleasure to be able to talk to the people about the science that we do so they can know what kind of science that we are doing to make an impact in their lives. I'm a senior researcher at the CSIR, and I'm currently working on developing advanced drug delivery systems that can be used for breast cancer treatment and diabetes treatment. So the reason why we're doing this work is that we've seen that in South Africa and a lot of underserved communities, the treatments that we take are not really tailored to be able to be used in our climate. For example, with diabetes and with breast cancer, the treatment that are used are called biotherapies. And with these biotherapeutics is that you need to keep them in the fridge. You need to keep them at very low temperatures, as we've seen with the vaccine as well, which is the COVID-19 vaccine, which was also a biotherapy. And for us, the biggest challenge is that most of the drugs that we use imported from other countries, as we've seen with the vaccine as well. So you can imagine that having to keep this medication at very cold temperatures from the time they leave whichever country they're coming from into South Africa and getting them to the rural areas, and still telling the patient that they also need to keep it at room temperature. For example, with diabetes, which is chronic medication that they would need to take themselves every day, is really a challenge. You say to a patient, do you have a fridge where you can put this insulin? And the answer is always yes, because they fear if they say no, they do not have a fridge, you might not give them the medication.
Yeah.
And then they end up keeping the medication at whatever climate they have access to, and it doesn't become effective. And that's why we see that, with the treatment with diabetes, there's about 50% of patients that really use it effectively. And that's why we see such a high mortality rate for diabetes in South Africa. Recently, we've seen that diabetes has surpassed HIV as the second biggest killer in South Africa.
Right. And Doc, if I may just jump in there, I understand that also your work is around making sure that the right concentration for the body is there to reduce side effects. The issue around, the amount or number of side effects that patients may endure was a concern, and you're actually bridging this concern. How are you doing this?
Okay, so I'll give you an example with breast cancer, right? So with breast cancer, we are fortunate that we have an antibody, which is, like I said, a biotherapy. It works very well. But then we complement it with what we call chemotherapy. And a lot of people who know about cancer treatment will know that chemotherapy has very severe side effects. When people take it, you've seen that a lot of cancer patients that are going through chemotherapy are bold. They experience a lot of nausea and vomiting. They are constantly fatigued. And this is because chemotherapy is a systematic therapy. A systematic therapy means that whenever you take it, you don't know where it goes into the body until it reaches the cancer, which is the site of infection where you want it to go. So ideally, we would want something that when you take it, it goes directly to the cancer and doesn't affect all the other parts of the body, because that's what causes these toxic side effects, when it goes to the parts of the body that are healthy and do not need this chemotherapy. So what we are working on is trying to develop a system where we target this therapy to only the cancerous cells where it's needed, and it doesn't interfere with the rest of the healthy cells in the body, and doesn't cause these toxic side effects.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, of course, speaking to us about this morning. Doctor, quite impressive technology that we're seeing here. Actually, we're hopeful, I think, for anyone even listening to our conversation, that definitely health and technology merging together, bridging all those digital divide challenges and gaps, we're seeing that we're getting closer and closer to seeing that actually being resolved. Thank you so much, CSIR Senior Researcher, Dr. Bathabile Ramalapa. Thank you for your time.